Okay, we're going to start this last one over since it stopped the video in the middle. So our last equation we have is b squared equals yc. So in order to find the longest leg of the largest triangle, we have to take y and multiply it by c. If you look up here, y is that longer piece of the two pieces together, so that's 27. And we're going to multiply that by c, and c is the whole length of that large hypotenuse, and that would be 30 in this case. So b squared equals 27 times 30. 27 times 30 is 810. We're going to have to take the square root of that, and these would cancel over here, so we just have b. 810 is not a perfect square, so we're going to break it up. 810 would be the same thing as 81 times 10. Square root of 81 would be 9, and then we would have square root of 10 left, which does not break down any farther. So that would be our third side there, which would be the longest leg, which would be our W. And I could have changed B to W. I should have. Example 4 says a surveyor positions himself so that his line of sight to the top of a cliff and his line of sight to the bottom form a right angle as shown. What is the height of the cliff to the nearest foot? So they want us to figure out what is the hypotenuse of this large triangle. So if I use this diagram and I compare it to the picture from the example up above, this would be our letter B. This side here would be our letter A. This whole side over here would be C, that whole hypotenuse. This longer piece would be a Y, and this shorter piece would be an X. And then the altitude would be our H. So if you look at this picture now, we know the value of H and we know the value of X. So looking back at those three examples up here, H and X are both in that first one. H squared equals X times Y. So that is the formula that we're going to use to figure out what our Y value is. So H squared equals X times Y. So H is 28, and X is 5.5, and Y is still going to be Y because we don't know what that is in this picture. So 28 squared, 28 times 28 is going to give us 784. 5.5 times y on that side. We're going to have to get rid of that 5.5, so we're going to divide because that's multiplication there. And when I divide that out, I get about 142.5 if I round to the nearest tenth. So now this y value is 142.5, but they asked us what is that whole distance there. So we have to take that 142.5 and we have to add our 5.5 to it. So our C value is 148 feet. Feet were the units used here. Okay. And then in your homework, you're going to have a couple of review questions. So I put these review topics in here. The first one is the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Remember, A and B are the legs and C is the hypotenuse. So for this particular example, we know the two legs. We know A and B. We do not know what C is. We have to figure that out. It does not matter which one we plug 4 in for. It could be A or B. It does not matter. Same thing with 6. So I'm going to do 4 squared plus 6 squared is going to equal C squared. 4 squared is 16, and 6 squared is 36. And if we add those together, we will get 52. We have to take the square root of both sides. So C is going to equal the square root of 52. And the square root of 52 does not simplify any farther, so that is our final answer. That length is square root of 52. And then our other review is solving proportions. We have y plus 1 over 8 equals 5 over 20. So we have to cross multiply here. We have to do 20 times y plus 1, and that is going to be the same thing as 8 times 5, which is 40. To distribute here, 20 times y is 20y, plus 20 times 1 is 20. That equals 40, so minus 20 from both sides. We would get 20y equals 40 minus 20 is 20. And that's multiplication, so divide each side by 20. 20 divided by 20 is 1. So in this case, y would be 1. So like I said, those two problems were just review problems that I threw into the assignment for today. I wanted to give you an example on how to do them and kind of refresh your memory a little bit.